I would like to share with you about the Qigong Coaching, the discipline that I've developed over the years that integrates the ancient arts of energy awareness, called Qigong, on one hand, and the modern methodology of coaching on the other hand. What is making it different from Qigong teaching or Qigong therapy is that it allows the student to discover what works for them and integrate it into their daily life. So instead of doing forms, Qigong coaching allows you to discover the principles underlying all the forms, and also learn how to apply these principles to yourself in an authentic and effective manner so that you can embody your knowledge and literally walk the talk. I would like to share with you just a few of these principles today and invite you to test them for yourself so that you know exactly how they work, whether or not they are the best principles for you, and also see how you can start integrating them in what I call the harmonious culture of movement, specific to Tai Chi and Qigong masters. I will walk you through the exploration of authentic awareness that you can do by yourself, either watching on the screen what I'm doing, or also just inviting another person to be your practice partner. It's a fantastic way to work with another human being as a practice partner that will make you and your partner a lot more aware of your own energy and the way of using your body in the most effective and natural way. The way that Tai Chi and Qigong masters worldwide move is often different from the way that most people move. What makes their culture of movement different is a more harmonious flow that they manifest through their physical bodies. And we can learn how to move more harmoniously as well as create a more harmonious state of consciousness. This means you're not just going to move harmoniously during your class. This means you're going to move harmoniously throughout your daily life so that every step you take on earth becomes more harmonious, more in harmony with the universe. And that also means that by doing so, you will be maintaining a more harmonious state of consciousness. Now, this is the way to integrate and bring into your life your spiritual and energy practice, as well as bring more life into your practice. Let's see how we can begin with the simplest and most obvious thing to start with: natural stance. When you're learning how to stand, you may follow certain ideas of how your feet are supposed to be positioned on the ground, and you may hear from different sources about the direction of your feet or the distance between your feet, or how you're supposed to distribute weight on your feet, or where your knees are supposed to be. Let's see what really works. And then we will also learn how to develop a sense of what works for you. The simplest way to experience natural stance is by just jumping and landing softly on the ground, like this. Notice how when you land, you have to bend your knees a little bit, because otherwise you will hurt yourself by landing too harshly. You will jar your joints and perhaps even give yourself a little brain concussion if you're too stiff. So we land by absorbing the shock of landing with the quads so softly, like a kitten landing from jumping off a ledge. Once again, just like this. Notice how the body will immediately assume a more aligned position. When dealing with gravity, the body actually will naturally align the bones of the skeleton in such a way that the bones start carrying the weight of the body. Once again, just jumping and landing softly, you can develop the sense of natural stance where your feet will land exactly where your body needs them. The angle between your feet, the distance between your feet will be unique to you, so you become the world expert in the natural stance for your body. Just like that. A couple of other simple principles of body alignment and body awareness that I would like to share with you today. One of them is the alignment of the head. Most people don't really know where the top of the head is, so they bring the false part of the head on top. If you look in profile, you can see how if I bring this part of the head on top, it actually misaligns my head, because the real top of the head is back here, right around the very pointy top of this skull. I can simply grab my tips of the ears and gently align my head without pulling too hard, just very simple, very gentle movement. And this creates a different alignment of the neck. You can hear how my voice is no longer high-pitched like it was just a moment ago. It's a little bit more gravelly, and that's okay. I hope you don't mind doing the same to your own ears. Not just the ears, the whole head aligns. And not just the head, you will notice how the sternum slightly lifts up, which means that your abs relax. Your lungs have more movement available to them. The diaphragm becomes more mobile, the breathing muscle that allows you to breathe deeply and smoothly. What also happens is by aligning your head, you no longer have tension in the back of the neck muscles, because they no longer support the weight of your head, which is usually 12, 13 pounds, depending on how much hair you have, whether you have gold teeth. And what happens is that your neck muscles relax, allowing the energy to flow freely between the head and the rest of the body. And guess what? If your neck muscles are tense, and perhaps even sore, the flow of energy doesn't flow freely between the head and the rest of the body, and most people don't get stuck in the body. Most people get stuck in the head. I'm sure you have met some people who have been stuck in the head, and you notice how difficult it is for them to communicate as well as to be more authentic. And what we're learning is how to develop greater authenticity. So simply giving yourself a gentle tug by the tips of the ears straight out, you create a better alignment of the head and neck and even thoracic part of your torso, the chest cavity. Notice how easy it is to breathe. Now let's see how we can also play with a couple more alignments, formed just by jumping and landing softly. Just like this. You simply absorb the shock of landing by quadriceps, the muscles of your thighs, the largest muscle group in the body. Once again, simple jump and land. You don't have to jump very high, but notice how your feet are going to be exactly where your body needs them. They're not going to be positioned the way that you are expected or supposed to position your feet. You know, some people would say, well, you have to put the feet directly parallel to each other, or a certain distance from each other, or distribute the weight on a certain part of the foot. What we'll do is we'll test. Let me ask a practice partner of mine to come and simply test me by pushing me, and it's a special type of push that can be replicated as often as you need to without changing the intensity of the push. So for example, if I'm standing just like this, would you push me now? Thank you. So you see, she can just lift the foot off the floor and start falling towards me. So the gravity does all the work. And that doesn't change so that it maintains consistent pressure. Just take a natural stance. Would you push again? See this? Totally different feeling, isn't it?
He's not budging.
Now, what did I do? I changed the position of my hands and my head. So, if my hands are not aligned, let's see what's going to happen. I test. My hands, see how they are backwards. The back of the hand is forward. The front of the hand is backwards. That means they're backwards. Would you test me now? Very nice. It doesn't matter whether they're here or there. Now, let's test again. See how just turning the hands backwards immediately undermine my stability. What does it mean? It means that you can be stronger by simply aligning your arms. What does the alignment of the arm mean? It means that the front of the hand is pointing forward, and the back of the hand is pointing backwards. Otherwise, you'll be wearing your arms backwards. And that's unfortunately how most people tend to wear their arms backwards. It's very unfortunate because it actually does not match the anatomical alignment of the human body. If you look at a chart of the human body, this is how the hands appear to be. Now, it's not just the hands. Other parts of the body also make a huge difference. For example, the head. Nancy, would you push me again, please? I jump and land softly. But now I lift my head just slightly. See how easy to push me over. What I'm going to do is simply align the head and neck by tugging by the tips of the ears. So a different part of the head is now on top. This is the real top of the head, not that. When I bring the real top of the head on top, you can test me, and I'm not going anywhere. Bring the false top of the head on top, and suddenly it creates misalignment. Would you push me again? If I start looking down, again, it creates misalignment. So it can go both ways, obviously. Just like position of the hands, it's not just bad and good. You can actually test the various angles that will give you a real clear idea that there is a sweet spot that is authentic to you. It may be not the same for everybody, and it may also be subject to change. So what works for you today may not be the same as what worked yesterday. Now let's take a look at one more thing, and that's the alignment of the legs. When you jump and land softly like this, notice how the foot that's pointing directly at you is in alignment with the knee of that leg. If the knee is not in alignment with the direction where the toes are pointing, for example, just slightly inwards or too much outwards, it's going to create misalignment of the leg. And what happens? Again, it creates weakness. Nancy, would you push me again? And let's test how, for example, the misaligned legs feel. I'll misalign my legs just a little bit. Very nice. Now let's do it again. But now I turn my legs just so that my knees are pointing a little bit outwards in relation to the toes. Very.
You don't have to touch it.
And now I'm just pointing the knees directly where the toes are pointing. No, I'm totally comfortable. So this means that my body is actually stable and relaxed. And relaxation and strength go hand in hand. I'm not teaching you other aspects of Qigong that are very unique and specific to different styles and different systems of the energy arts. I'm offering you the foundational principles that can be applied to any style. Regardless of the method, you still have your physical body coming along with you. And you can use that so effectively that the flow of qi will flow through your entire organism unimpeded. And that is exactly what I would love to see in you and 7 billion other people on Earth.